Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. I'm here with Ona. Hello, Ona.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome to Moon Shadows, Moon Shadows.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one too. You're going to be able to see it.
That's you're going to actually see a shadow. Well, yeah, shadow on the sun, the shadow of the moon on the sun. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very mystical, magical time. As we're doing this today, the actual new moon is tomorrow. And the eclipse is tomorrow. The new moon occurs right in the middle of the eclipse, pretty much. And for those who can see it, we'll see it at sunrise. And it's not a total solar eclipse. And so there are sort of gradients of what you can see. The further north you are, and I do have I have a picture so I can show you guys on a like a picture from a website. Um, but the further north you are, the more you'll see, the more of the sun is covered.
yeah,
Uh, and so it's happening in Aries. It's the ninth degree of Aries. We'll talk about that. It's a new moon, right? Which, of course, moon shadows is always a new moon. But the new moon is, and the moon and the sun are on the north node of the moon. Now, the north node of the moon is not in Aries
yeah.
anymore. It's in Pisces, but this new moon is close enough to the um,
The
lunar
North Node.
nodes to be an eclipse.
Yeah,
But because it's not close to the lunar nodes, it's not a total. So the further away,
yeah,
the less totality you'll see. So the last time we had a new moon solar eclipse, we had that line, that very sort of, because that was total demarcated line that went
yeah,
across the U.S. I think it was. Quite
yeah.
it was. Seems
Was
like we're
that
getting all the
2023?
eclipses.
Was that a 20, the 2024? When was that
Or
eclipse? 24.
no, that was yes, that was April of 2024. Remember, that was an Aries eclipse as well,
My
right?
glasses flew off my head on the roof.
On that eclipse or more recently.
2024, that it was so windy up there, and I had to get that eclipse. Boy, oh boy. And I remember the challenge of the Sabian symbol at the time, and having to, because there were a lot of residents upstairs on the roof watching this eclipse, and having to sit by this woman who just complained about every single thing.
Oh,
When
that's right. It was a big party. Everybody was having eclipse parties. Yes, that's right.
is it gonna get dark? I would thought it was gonna get dark. It's supposed to get dark. I'm gonna call Amy and see when it's gonna get dark, like the whole time. Like, this is the challenge of
Yeah.
controlling yourself when you're trying to witness something sacred.
And somebody can't keep their mouth shut.
La, 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 la. And that's how spirit is sometimes too, right? And this is how this eclipse is too, sort of like waves of radar uh distractions.
Well, um, and of course, we have this eclipse in Aries, but there's all this activity at the Pisces Aries cusp
Yeah,
that's making it very difficult to orient yourself.
almost.
Ona was telling me a story. Tell folks about your disorientation.
I felt like so clumsy. This started on Tuesday, where I would almost like it got to the point where I'm like, am I doing it on purpose telekinetically? Because I don't even know how I knocked that down. Clumsy, knocking things down, spilling coffee all over, just knocking stuff out. Like when the moon is in Taurus and it's boom, hit the ground, stop kind of thing. I'm like, what is going on? And then being in tune with and trying to sort out all those Schumann things that are happening, these solar
Yes,
storms, and trying to make the connection between how you're feeling and what's happening with the earth right now.
right. Yes. Yeah.
I'm knocking shit over all over the place. And I'm like, I feel like I'm completely unaware of my passive environment. And it's my spatial relationships are just moving all over. I realize Neptune is trying to like tune in right now, and that's part of this too.
That's right, because tomorrow, I'm not tomorrow, tomorrow's the new moon. The next day, we have Neptune move into Aries. And so that, Aries is usually very like on the beam, right? Like radar, laser, like Aries has a laser-like quality. But once Neptune moves into the picture, it might be like a laser light show. You know how you have
Yeah.
all the mist and then you have the lasers and
So all those things that Neptune represents, like fogginess, and it's been in its ruling sign of Pisces, that's going to change a lot.
yes. Yes, you're gonna feel it. And then um eventually Venus will turn direct and go out of Pisces, and Mercury will go direct and move out of Pisces back into Aries. I think it's still in Aries in this eclipse, but
It,
it's right at zero, like zero. It's like at one of Aries.
yeah, April's a big month.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how would
Well, March has been they've
with the
all been big months. I mean, honestly, have it's just been nuts, right?
yeah,
But I've been, I've sort of been preparing for the months ahead for my membership and also for videos that I do and for my classes. And it seems like maybe by May, towards the end of May, things will shift around enough that I think perhaps will be less like this,
yeah,
like going, going
yeah,
down. What is that? In at Disneyland, there used to be this ride that's still there, I think, and it's Space Mountain. So
yes,
you're on a roller coaster, but you can't see where you're going because it's black, so you're like, woo, woo, woo.
yeah,
And we're all like,
yeah.
so I think maybe
That's how this new
by
moon.
the end of May, we'll have a better idea of something. What exactly, I'm not sure, but something. So
I,
just don't keep any of your precious breakables out. That's what I would say, which is probably a good idea anyway, whenever you're dealing with Aries, because the Aries energy is a little bit of a bull in a china shop kind of energy.
you know what? I have an Aries moon. It's got to be related. It's got to be related because it's just kind of silly. It's like at the point where like, come on now, stop it. You know, it's
So
because
go ahead, I'm
a
sorry.
long, long walk. I think the grounding thing, the walk I took, being on the ground is a good thing for this new moon because it's the element, water and fire pulling out of Pisces and going into fire.
Yeah, yeah, that's a spirit. A water fire is a spiritual initiation. And we're being asked to be our authentic selves through this, right? Now we've had Chiron in Aries for a while now. Chiron is at about, I think, 22 now of Aries. We still have another sort of 8 to 10 degrees to go through with Chiron in Aries, but we've really been challenged to understand who we are, what our part in the great scheme is. One of the things that you said when you first came on was that did you say, was it you felt, it wasn't isolated. What was the word you used? And I said, I think that's the Aries energy. Um, not,
Disoriented?
not collective.
Oh yeah,
It particularly
yes.
collective energy. That's what you said.
Yes. It doesn't feel like it's a collective thing where it feels like you need to get yourself together.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of feeling.
So I think it'd be a good time to just take a look. Oh dear. Now let me see here. I have this in to Wareham. Let me just relocate this to, well, this is what's happening in Wareham anyway. But let me relocate this to Washington so we can apply it to our country, which is going through quite we're having quite a time here in America. It's it's unbelievable to me, really, that people are actually following this guy. Like,
I don't
haven't you figured out that this guy's nuts? Like, why are we agreeing to this?
I don't know if anything that I read from a supposed supporter in a feed, in a comment, that I actually believe that person is real. I think that there are a lot of bots out there putting out positive comments that don't are accounts that don't exist. And because I think even people that were very, very pro this person, um, are starting to question it too. I mean, even if by yourself alone, you're like, doesn't seem right. Something doesn't seem right,
Yeah.
even
Well,
though
it's interesting because I do have friends who I know they're actual people because they're friends of mine. And I'll put something up occasionally on Facebook. And I put the thing about Bernie and there were 34,000, people. And one of my friends says, paid actors. And I was like, I don't think the Democrats have that much money. I
Mm,
said, unless they're getting donations from Elon, I said, I don't think they can pay 34,000 people to come.
yeah, no, that's an old excuse that's just regurgitating an old idea because you knew there were paid actors for somebody else's campaign.
Yeah, well, that's what he did. That's
No,
what
yeah,
that's what Trump did. But
yeah.
um, this
These are people
person,
that need our social security, so we're not going to be, you know, no, they're not paid. They're there to show up to fight for what they earned.
that's right. That's right. We deserve what as AOC said in one of her speeches, we deserve better.
Yeah.
We deserve better. And it's true. And we deserve better is very Aryan in its way, right? Where you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I'm not taking this for the team. What are you talking about? I
Yeah.
worked for this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the eclipse here. This is for Washington, D.C., happening in the first house for the United States, the I am house, the I am sign, and the I am house. Trying to figure out who we are, really. Now, Chiron, there is still within a less than a degree of the United States Chiron. The United States Chiron is at 21 of
Okay.
uh, of Aries. So we're still moving through our Chiron return with this new moon.
That's a great window to watch is the moon and the sun. The moon will pass over Chiron first and then the sun will later, but that's going to be an interesting time.
Yes, yes, yeah. And the moon will pass over Chiron probably either by the end of the day or maybe the next day. I think maybe it's the next day. And
Okay.
then the sun will go over Chiron in say
The end.
13 days from now.
Yeah.
So we will see something at that point, I think. Here's Mercury retrograde right at the last, just ready to move back into Pisces. Venus just moved back into Pisces and conjoined Neptune. Mercury's going to move into Pisces, conjunct Neptune, and then Neptune moves into Aries for the first time at that first degree of Aries since 1861. And of course, everybody's associating that with the Civil War.
This is the disorientation feeling. I think it has more to do with Neptune than this new moon about Neptune and Pisces, the boundaries were looser and now they're squeezing in. Does that make sense? They're squeezing in. It's like, and you're kind of more aware of that now.
We also have Mars making a trine um, to um, to Saturn, and
Okay.
Saturn is moving into a sextile with Uranus. That's going to be exact on the 4th, I think, of April. And that's part of a cycle. The Uranus Saturn cycle is a cycle that began back in 1988. And so that's a longer term cycle that's coming up for us. It's going to be very interesting. The conjunctions that happened in 1988 were at the last 3 degrees of Sagittarius. And
Wow.
Sagittarius is what we believe, our beliefs.
Yeah.
And so now we are coming to a point in this cycle, this synodic cycle between these two planets, where we're at that waning um, or releasing sextile, which brings us into a more Aquarian state of mind. The energy for, as I'm looking at it, as I'm going over the months, the energy for a rising up of the people and declaring what they want and actually getting what they want is very high. The energy is
Yeah.
very good for that. And so we have to apply ourselves. The issue, I think, for a lot of people, and certainly for me, is where do I want to put my focus? Because everything is happening. So if you know everything's happening, it's almost like, well, which one should I do? Which would, what should I apply myself to?
Yeah.
Of course, this new moon in Aries is saying apply yourself to yourself, right? And then beyond that, right? Apply to the things that are most important to you. If the environment is important to you, then stick with the environmental stuff so that when you need to be called up to either protest or spread the word about something, pick your thing. If it's what's going on in the Middle East, that's what you need to pick. If it's what's going, whatever it is, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be everything to everybody. You just have to be, I think, yourself, and then whatever resonates with you the most. But I do think that the whole idea of resonating with self might be the most important thing for all
It
of us.
is. It is because then you attract what you resonate.
That's right. That's right.
So, so
So
interesting.
let me I'm going to read the Sabian symbol because this one's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what I'll do is I think I'll take the thing down because I like seeing you in big, not in little, like in the corner of my. All right. So the Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Aries. Let me read this to you guys. Oh no, I don't need to do that. Hold on. Now I'm confused. Well, that's not really a new thing. Okay. So the symbol is a crystal gazer. It says focusing the subtle mind, awakening the non-grasping, all-seeing, subtle aspects of the mind, sensitive visionary concentration of attention. And he further says, being able to see the whole picture, the mature psychic can interpret scenes and scenarios in a holistic context. This perspective is not given to one lost in narcissistic self love and obsessed with self projection.
Right. Right. I think I like this, and I'm really almost so incredibly focused on Neptune, but the whole idea of more people coming out with learning that they have psychic abilities or reigniting psychic abilities or methods on how to reignite your psychic abilities with this eclipse and the Neptune movement going on. I like that.
Yeah. So, as far as things to put on an altar, we discussed, you said you were
Yeah.
tasting
Yeah.
cilantro.
Mine was aragonite. So
Right.
recharging. This one looks like a brain. Aries rules the head, right? This is how I keep it stationary with some gallery gum. And I have a piece like this that was left in my car because I felt like the nervous system of that vehicle could always use a boost. But it is one to calm like the nervous system. And a lot of it, your nervous system is generated from your response to stimulus, right? The other stuff is involuntary or autonomic, but how you're responding to stimulus.
So on my altar, I'm going to have some of the warrior stones because,
Yeah.
you know, Aries is a warrior energy. I would use carnelian, which is protective. Anybody who's empathic should probably be carrying a little piece of carnelian in their pocket anyway, because it helps to protect your sacral chakra, which is your belly chakra.
Yeah.
And that's where people will tend to like try to hook into
Feel
you.
your psychic energy.
Yeah, yeah. And I also like I said carnelian, fire agate,
Yeah.
even bloodstone. Bloodstone is a good bloodstone is for courage, but it's also for
Yeah.
finances. And you know, a lot of people are afraid about their finances.
Yeah. It is a real true Mars relatable. It relates to Mars for me.
Yeah.
Blood and Mars go hand in hand in the same noodle bowl.
So if you are in Aries, right?
Yeah.
If you have anything in Aries, you have any planets in Aries, like your moon, like Ona
Like my
does.
moon. Which only I have to say, I give you a lot of almost all the credit for helping me understand what an Aries moon means and how I've been able to keep it in check
Yeah.
when it previously went. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Because
I'm glad
otherwise
I
I
could
would
be of,
not know why I was such a hothead or why people would call me that.
yeah. Well, that and the fact that you're Sicilian probably there's
Oh,
there's
I
there's
had no
probably a little Mount Etna in there as well.
I had no chance. There was no chance. It's in the code. In the code. That's why, my hair is, I know I color it red, but trust me, there's
Yeah,
some highlights of red in there.
yeah, I would bet. Yeah, hothead, as they say, hothead.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and so with the new moon in Aries, some of the themes are the know thyself theme, putting yourself out there. This is a good time. If, like, say there's something you always wanted to try or always wanted to do or felt a little bit like, I don't know, am I ready? Should I do it? Do it. Do it. Not do big things without thinking about them, but if it's something that you've needed a little bit of courage to do, this might be the new moon where you can plant that seed and be willing to be yourself. I mean, one of the bravest things I think people can do is just to be who they are and not worry about what other people are thinking or seeing or saying. And of course, one of my favorite expressions that I think goes really well with this Aries new moon is what you think of me is none of my business.
Yeah. 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 It takes a long time. It was hard for me to come to the place where it doesn't matter what people think. I think a lot of my early adulthood, I really cared about what people thought.
Yeah. Well, you also a Capricorn. You are, you do have that Capricorn energy. And so it's going to it matters to Capricorns, it matters to Leos. People who have natural leadership qualities will
Yeah.
sometimes have to hold back a little bit from how they truly are because they want people to follow them or they a lot of times it's your work.
It's
Capricorn is
fun.
notorious for not putting it all out there because they want to be more reserved, they want to be respected, so they're not going to necessarily put it out there.
It's really windy, and because it is now 78 degrees posted, but not down here, there's shadows on the wall that he cannot control,
Oh,
and the plants moving about.
and doesn't he have an Aries moon too?
Yes. does. He doesn't know how to control it like I am learning how to. For
All
example.
right. So, oh, and so the other thing about this Aries new moon is Mars, the ruler of Aries, is at 22 degrees of Cancer. And so the ruling planet is in a sign that Mars isn't really all that comfortable in to start with. Mars likes to get from point A to point B in a straight line, and forward, and Cancer as a crab can only go sideways and backwards.
Mm.
So you can sort of feel overly emotional through this period and feel like you're not making progress. But I say just be patient with yourselves. We're going to have 12 years of Neptune in Aries. 12 years, 14 years of Neptune
Yeah.
in Aries. We'll get our feet under us. We'll get our feet under us. So
Oh my gosh. It's one planet a day.
Oh, isn't was and the other thing, oh, let me show you guys I do have something to share. I did pull this up just so I could share it, if I can find it now. Hold on.
Okay.
Um, this is where you can sort of see the eclipse. All right, I have to do
Yeah, the more
something now.
north you are. So it might just look like I don't think we're gonna see much other than what looks like might look like the sun has a little dark
Spawn
crest
on it.
cloud barely on the bottom, but I will do what I can to get what I can, and I'm right every day. I have coffee ready for the sun every morning. I have coffee ready for the sun every morning. Every day is different. Every day is different. Right, buddy? Because you're a big dog.
I'm having a moment here, so I apologize for my moment. I'm trying to remember how to get to what the heck.
Oh boy. He doesn't hear anything, but when he sees movements or stuff, he's always alerted me to movement, and he's really good at it. And he's clinging on to me. So something's goofy.
Hmm. I can't pull it up
Okay.
because I can't, for some reason I can't figure it out. You know what I'll do? I'll put it on the community tab. I'll take a picture of it and put it on the community tab so you guys can see it. But it's actually in the north, and it's right over Greenland, and one of the other things that happens with these new moon eclipses is it could be the death of a leader or the death of a king.
Yes.
And I heard that
Oh, King.
Charles was having
Yes.
issues.
Yes. You said that this morning, right? That
Yeah, I did.
on your morning and this is what we look for to validate those connections.
Yeah. So if not him, maybe another leader will go
I
down
was gonna
with
say,
this
yeah, maybe,
eclipse.
yeah, maybe it'll be a different king.
Different person, different kind of king, different.
Different.
Um,
Good.
so that's a possibility as well. But then, and of course, with eclipses, you never really know what's going to happen. It's really hard to predict anything with an eclipse. It's the old expect the unexpected kind of
Yeah,
thing with the eclipse. So,
yeah,
we will see, we will see. And the eclipse degrees, 9 degrees of Aries in this case, will be active for a while. It depends on how long the eclipse is, as to how
yeah,
long. It can, 6 months to a year. Some eclipses can go 2 years. Uh,
yeah,
if it's in a fixed sign, it tends to be longer. Cardinal sign is a little shorter. Immutable tends to be the shortest. But as I understand it anyway. But I'm still learning my eclipses. I it's just they
you
happen
gotta
over
note
such
it.
they happen over such a large period. Oh, let me read the eclipse, the actual eclipse itself,
Do
because
you think
eclipses.
it's fair to say that we should be looking for even more earthquake activity under this configuration other
So
than
I
what's
think I'm not sure it's the Well, yes, yeah, because there's so much activity at the Aries point. I think that, and that's a world point. But beyond that, we are going to have Uranus move out of Taurus and then move into Gemini for a couple of months and then move back into Taurus. One of the reasons why there's so much seismic activity, I think, is and so many crazy things like tornadoes and all
Yeah.
kinds of nut. I mean, it really, if you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
the news, even if you don't watch the political stuff and you just watch what's going on around the world, you
Yeah.
would think that we're in the end times, and in a kind of a way we are. We're at the end of a time, not all time, just a time. And
Yeah.
it's going to be important for us to focus on the world we want to see because the world we have known is dissipating.
Yeah.
And we have to get out of the fear of that and allow, and the more connected you are to spirit, the more connected you are to your higher self, the more connected you are to uh, people who are vibrating and looking for those answers, I think, the better off you are.
And use these portals to connect,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. So this is what it says about this particular eclipse cycle. Now, eclipse cycles last a long time. They'll either start at the North Pole or they'll start at the South Pole. This one is a north eclipse, and it actually began in 1664. That was the initial new moon eclipse, 1664, and it ends in 2908. So these are enormous long cycles because what it has to do is the eclipses have to go from the north all the way down to the south. And then the south goes all from the south all the way up to the north. And it takes thousands of years,
Yeah.
right? So this is
Wow.
a relatively new eclipse, right? 1664. We were in America, 1620, right here in Massachusetts. We were hanging out. Um, but this is what it says. It says, this is a very physical, expressive Saros series. Accidents and great physical effort, violence, and any sudden physical events. These can be experienced positively, um, or it can be negative in terms of accidents and so on. The approach to take when this series is affecting a chart is not to hide away, but to undertake some physical activity with an ever watchful eye to safety. And that's exactly what you did today. You actually took a nice long walk, you
The
know.
physical of the eye for the physical safety was literally, like I told you,
Oh, that's right.
focusing on the sidewalk to dodge the dog shit on the sidewalk. But it was a focus to, kind of clear the road basically, because you don't want to step in it. And
Right.
it's a thaw season and
Yes.
there's a lot. So
Yeah.
some of your dogs are sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the picking a center line to focus. Yeah, that's exactly why I do what I do, because I get I have the experience of the Sabian symbol in one way or another. It's gonna happen.
And this is the card for the day of the eclipse, the Ace of Cups, the hand of God offering love, unconditional, ever flowing, overflowing love. So know that you are loved, know that you are protected, be
Yeah.
aware and take care. Invest in yourself in ways that you can. Um, and try not to waste too much time fretting because that doesn't do any good at all.
Yeah.
You can plan for eventualities like, oh, maybe I won't get my Social Security check on time this month. Let me see if maybe I can get I can look in my pantry and see what I have and,
I was just
things
gonna say,
things
picky.
like that.
Yeah.
Just be aware when you're buying something, you say, oh, let me get this. I can get 2 or 3 meals out of this.
Yes.
Set it up so that you always have a little something.
You know what? I every week I boil a pot of rice like on a Sunday or Monday, generous sort of size serving, and I use it in something all week.
Right?
all
Right.
week. By the end, it's like fried rice in the air fryer, whatever, but it's such a great way to think, how can I expand what I already have
Right.
without
Right.
accumulating more of stuff that I don't need.
That you don't need, or that's going to go to waste.
I
And then for those of you, not everybody's in the same situation. Some people have plenty. And so this would be the time to offer, to help those who don't, you know,
Yes,
let's be each other's brothers, the keepers of our brothers and sisters,
yeah,
especially those who are at the most risk. Those are the ones we really have to keep under our wing, I think.
yeah.
And if you know somebody who's elderly and they're nervous about this, reach out, you know, um, just we have to be here for each other in physical ways and in ways like Ona and I do with the moonshine and the moon shadows. So, all right, guys, I think is there anything else you want to add, Ona?
I don't think
Think
so. I think happy new moon, and we'll see. I'll see what I can get when the sun is coming up. I have all the exact times right now.
okay. So we will see you tonight on this channel, Victoria Skirbo for Mystic Sisters Live. Please join us 7 Eastern, 6 Central,
Yeah.
which is not that far from now. So I
No,
think
it's not.
we should. I'm going to change my shirt maybe. And
I'm gonna change. Well, I have to because Jibble's got all his dog hair shirt now.
oh yeah.
So I
All
will be
right,
doing
guys.
something different.
We love you. We'll see you next time on Ona's channel for Moonshine. We'll see you for Mystic Sisters tonight. And we love you. Take care, everyone. Namaste.